Welcome to Heart Stories, a podcast proudly brought to you by the Caulfield Grammarians Association. I'm your host, Doreen Brown, and this season we celebrate the journeys, passions, and values of remarkable individuals, many of whom share a connection to the Caulfield community. This series is a platform for heartfelt conversations that shine a light on creativity, leadership, and a sense of community that define extraordinary lives. At Heart Stories, we believe every achievement begins with a story. Together, we'll uncover the challenges, milestones, and lessons that have shaped our guests. Through their insights, we'll explore how shared values and a commitment to making a difference inspire both individuals and communities to thrive. So thank you for joining us. Settle in, open your mind, and get ready to discover stories that inspire, empower, and unite. This is Heart Stories. Let's begin. On this episode of Heart Stories, we're excited to feature Michael Chow, an accomplished executive with an illustrious career spanning over 25 years in banking and financial services. Michael has held prominent leadership roles at some of the world's most prestigious organizations, including HSBC, UBS, ABN AMRO, Barclays, and KPMG Australia. Most recently, he served as the Regional Head of Sales Management and Head of UHNW Segment Management AI at HBC in Hong Kong. Michael is known for his expertise in sales frameworks, data-driven strategies, and fostering high-performance cultures. He has driven organizational change and empowered teams across different regions. His career has taken him worldwide from Australia to the UK and Asia, while navigating the evolving landscape of finance and banking with remarkable skill and insight. Michael's connection to Caulfield Grammar School has been a foundational part of his story. His years at Caulfield played a key role in shaping his values, leadership and style, and global perspective, all of which supported his success on the international stage. So join us as Michael reflects on the lessons and experiences that defined his career, the challenges and opportunities of leading in a rapidly changing industry, and his enduring connection to the Caulfield community. Welcome, Michael, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, Doreen. Many thanks for the introduction. It's great to be here.
Excellent. You're so welcome. Now, can we begin with you sharing some of your favourite memories of your time at Caulfield Grammar School?
Yeah, I arrived at Caulfield Grammar School at Malvern House in grade 4, and I think I instantly, effectively fell in love with the school.
Yeah.
I come from a different type of school, and when entering the Malvern House campus, I was just blown away by the history of the place, the architecture, and the fun that the kids were having. It was
Yeah.
very different to the school that I'd been to, and that really started my journey from Malvern House to Caulfield campus, and I had a wonderful time there.
Now, how did your experiences at Caulfield Grammar School shape your values, your mindset, or leadership style as you moved into your career?
I think my time at Caulfield really helped focus me on being a fairly balanced individual. So there was a really good balance of emphasis on sports, and giving it a go. The camaraderie within the school and then the year levels was fantastic. But also, balancing it with academic rigor. I felt like, there was enough there made available to students who wanted more, who might have needed more in terms of academic support. And so, I think a lot of those support systems were there. And as part of it, there was also the recognition systems with a lot of the honor boards and
Yeah.
pocket system and positions of leadership that became available. So, I think all of those things helped to shape who I am today.
Yeah. And you mentioned sports in there as well. Were there any special ones or ones that you preferred that you enjoyed at Caulfield?
Yeah, I was particularly good at swimming, so being captain of the Caulfield swimming team
Amazing.
at that time, and I was
Yep.
also in the first 11 soccer team, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was the end of my soccer career, but I did actually enjoy sports at Caulfield. It was great.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, were there any specific teachers, programs, or moments during your school years that really inspired your early interest in business or leadership?
I think when I was in grade 6, there was a teacher called Grant Buckler. I think he really left an impression. He was a dynamic individual. He
Yeah.
was very creative, and at that time, it was a bit of a breakthrough where he initiated and launched an initiative to for the children to start up a restaurant for one night only. And our little restaurant in grade 6 was created and staffed by all the students, and it was Restaurant Francais.
Oh,
For
cool. Yeah.
so, all kids were waiters and chefs and serving our parents basically for dinner that one night, which I found was a lot of fun, so much fun. I think he had a very lasting impression on me. And I think, overall, the whole school community was such that there was I guess, a camaraderie there, which helped foster that sense of, the importance of networking and keeping in touch with people. So I think that in itself was actually something that influenced me a lot.
Now, your career spans more than 25 years across prominent organisations like HSBC, UBS, and Barclays. Can you tell us about your early steps into the world of banking and financial services?
Yeah, I think wasn't as well laid out as it has turned out to be,
All
and
right.
a couple of left and right turns here and there. I think when I graduated, I felt a natural draw towards Bachelor of Commerce. So I did my
Yeah.
degree at Melbourne University, and from there, I sort of went with the flow. And to be honest, a lot of people were applying for the Big Four, so I ended up at KPMG in audit and then corporate finance. And
Yeah.
I think my time at corporate finance really opened my eyes to corporate entrepreneurialism, where I was dealing with M&A and acquisition of small, medium-sized businesses. It's really, awoke myself to the whole corporate world, and it exposed me to lots of different skill sets, financial modeling and valuations, due diligence, financial rigor. So that sort of was the bedrock for the rest of my career. And then I went to the UK as part of the working holiday visa program back in that. So, when I joined Barclays, the focus was on joint ventures. And so that's where all of that corporate finance work came in handy, and it was a really good base to jump into banking.
Yeah.
Uh, it was also kind of a hot thing at that time. So yeah, that really kicked off the banking career, and I really enjoyed my time in the UK.
Yeah.
And, at certain stages in your career, that you are a little bit, lucky in that there's just within that narrow space of banking, there are lots of different offshoots, interesting offshoots that you can, transition to. For me at that time in the UK, I also had a desire to work in Asia. And I just had a fairly bullish view on the future of Hong Kong and Asia at that time. So
Yeah.
that's when I took the leap, and I ended up shifting into basically private banking. The precursor to private banking is mass affluent. So that's ABN AMRO. My time at ABN AMRO really helped me understand the mass affluent segment of banking. And then I graduated to private banking with UBS, where you're dealing with high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals. That whole world of wealth management, asset protection, and succession planning, that was really interesting. That's fascinating. That really, took my career a lot further than I ever expected. And working for a big house like that was really helpful with kind of my next move to HSBC, where they are very attracted to my experience having worked at a first tier wealth manager. And so, yeah, I joined HSBC in Hong Kong as head of their sales management team for the region. Sales management really is a unique skill here in Asia, where my role is almost like a PT for the sales force.
Right. I love
Yeah.
that analogy. Yeah.
So, the question is, how do you motivate and mobilize hundreds, in UBS, thousands of relationship managers at once to focus on one or two different sales themes? So really sales at scale. And so that's my specialty. And that's what HSBC hired me for. And yeah, if I look back now, whether that's relevant or what the link was to corporate finance, it's not necessarily a one-to-one nexus, but
Yeah.
all of those skills really accumulate, and you don't realize it, but you take those skills with you, and in every
Yeah.
role, you don't realize actually all of those skills come in really handy.
Yeah, they're all transferable, aren't they? And every new role is a new stepping stone. And at the end, they end up connecting all the dots. You may not realize it at the very beginning of your career, but as you move along, you're like, oh, okay, that happened for this reason. And that's why I'm here now. Yeah,
Yeah, life's not so scripted. So
exactly. Yeah, very organic. Now, what do you think drew you to these leadership roles? And how do you approach building teams and fostering high performance cultures from the start?
the attraction of a leadership role is, obviously to test yourself in one way, the chance to create your own team culture and really take an initiative to launch some of the ideas that you have that you've
Yes.
wanted to actually champion internally. I think those are some of the real benefits of a leadership role. And you get to make an impact on an organization. And although it might seem like a project, that project affects your internal community, your colleagues, and ultimately your clients. So your actions and words and initiatives really do have quite a wide ranging impact on your immediate and eventual communities that you link with. So I think those are really good things about leadership roles and the leadership skills that you refer to in fostering talent. Yeah, I think one of the key lessons I've learned is you might want to run at a very fast speed, but you
Yeah.
do need to take everybody with you. And there's no point if you're the first at the top of the mountain alone. It's not fun, actually.
No.
You need to sort of bring everybody with you, and it's a lot more fun enjoying the journey as opposed to getting to the destination
Yeah.
alone, right? So, I think with some of the team members that I've had, it's all about taking time out and carving specific time with them one to one and understanding really what they're good at and what they kind of need help with, right?
Yeah.
And so giving them right exposure as well to create sort of visibility for themselves within an organization and opportunities to shine. I think those are some things that my team members really resonated with.
And did you have any mentors throughout your career that also helped you to build some of those leadership skills?
I did.
Yeah.
I had a lot of male and female role models, more female, to be honest. I did find, the commonality between them was that they're real people persons. No matter how much technical knowledge you have, it's really about whether people want to work with you, personality, to
Yeah.
be able to properly collaborate with other team members that you might not know so well. And I think they're really likable people. And I think that's one of the things that I noticed they're very good at, apart from some of their technical skills
Of
and,
course. Yeah.
and their professionalism. So I didn't want to necessarily have too many role models, but there were two or three that really stood out as being, um, people I'd like to emulate.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you said, that connection, collaboration, and the energy is something that is more important than the technical skills and application.
Yeah, I think one
Yeah.
of the other common threads between my role models has been their uh, their mentality of positivity. There is always a silver lining with any situation. So
Yeah.
that's really carried me through as well. That mental attitude of it can be done.
Yes. Yes. Glass half full.
Right.
Right? Excellent. Now, you've been at the forefront of sales management and strategy transformation. How has your approach to sales evolved over the years, and what principles have guided your success?
Private banking is a very high touch and tailored service offering for quite sophisticated clients. And so it's one of those sales strategies which is kind of difficult to balance between, very tailored one-to-one type of advice and balancing that with a mass scale approach.
Yeah.
I think for my role, we rely on data to be able to paint us a picture of our strengths and weaknesses within the sales force and where different support's required and more effort needs to be directed on. So I think numbers really play a big part, and analysis of those numbers really play a big part on, a starting point of where to direct resources and management attention. I think, with a very personal type of sales force and client base, there is that aspect of looking more about process as opposed to outcome.
Right.
A lot of sales organizations can just focus on did you hit the revenue or not.
Yeah.
So
KPIs. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so, I guess our KPIs that we tend to focus on are a healthy balance of the outcome, say the financial result, and also non-financial in terms of our interaction with clients, the number of reviews that we have with clients. So
Yeah.
some things that you can look at in terms of the process of
Yep.
how we're doing our job, as opposed to just a cold, hard financial result.
Yeah.
So I think that's the balance we have when we're dealing with hundreds of salespeople.
Now, looking back, are there lessons or values from your school days that have influenced how you lead today?
I think, as I referred to before, there was a very collaborative, culture amongst
Yes.
students. I remember being in the swimming team, and
Yep.
a classmate of mine in Wheelers Hill campus actually came up with an initiative to create our own swimming T-shirts for the team. At that time, we didn't have swim team T-shirts.
Right. Nice.
Big shout out to Paul,
Yep.
good friend of mine. So, yeah, he had a lot of initiative to be able to uh, want to create and provide these T-shirts to the team, and we worked together with the school to help chip in with a little bit of funding, and the swim team themselves helped to actually create T-shirts and the polos uh,
Yes.
distribution. And so, I think it's about considering the whole school as a family. Paul was from Wheelers Hill, I was from Caulfield campus, but
Yeah.
we're able to work together on something which is fun, and we would help to create team spirit within the swim team across
Yeah.
different year levels. And it was just a really great and fun initiative. And I guess the lesson from that is you don't necessarily have to wait for someone senior or someone in
Yeah.
the management to suggest or do something. If you have a good idea and there's a couple of you that you can work with together
Yeah.
on a good idea, well, why not? Right. And so, I think that was a good example of Caulfield Grammar's collaboration and team spirit, which I've really taken on board, to my corporate life. People with initiative
Yeah.
and self-drive are really valued.
Yes. I love that story. Thank you for sharing that. Now, with an international career that has spanned Australia, the UK, and Asia, how have you navigated cultural differences in leadership and client engagement?
I think Australian, British, and Asian culture are very different
Yeah.
in so many ways. One of the differences that often gets talked about is how expressive people are in meetings. So I think Australian culture is pretty open and fairly direct in the way that we communicate with each other. And there is an expectation for colleagues who are sitting in a meeting to speak up, right? Regardless of hierarchy.
Right.
I think in the UK, I've had to adjust where they're quite a polished culture, and the way that they speak to each other is quite formal and less direct in some ways, and less sort of confrontational. I think that their style is actually quite interesting contrast to Australia. And in Hong Kong and Asia, there is probably a little bit more emphasis on more senior voices doing a lot more of the talking. And, I think face is a big thing in Asia with respect to how you communicate with others. Being direct with somebody, which might work in Australia, it can often get misunderstood as being confrontational.
Yes.
So those nuances are very, very obvious between the three locations. And I think even some things like, work-life balance, I think in Asia, speed at which people work at is
Mhm.
the main thing. I think the emphasis on speed of work and accuracy of work and their appetite for work is quite high.
Yeah.
Uh, and they're quite a driven society to succeed. Yeah, they're very motivated sales force and workforce in general. And so I think things get done a lot quicker. There's a lot more time pressure in Asia than the rest of the world.
Thank you for sharing those insights. Now, are there lessons or values instilled during your Caulfield years that you find yourself reflecting on as you consider your future challenges and opportunities?
I think as I embark on the next phase of my life, I
Yeah.
think it's, some of the aspects around community, the Caulfield community, the alumni. Um, I had a great time when I was at Caulfield Grammar School, and I
Yeah.
really cherish all the schoolmates that I had at Caulfield, and I do miss that a lot. Right? And sometimes you can get quite consumed in work, especially here in Asia, where you do long hours and work at high speed. That next phase of my life is more about reconnecting with old schoolmates,
Yep.
old friends, and just cherishing kind of the friendships and relationships that I have. And I think that's one of the things that probably was instilled in me in Caulfield Grammar School, to that camaraderie of friendships, across.
And it's been a common theme with our guests that many of the students are still friends now, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years later, which is a really lovely common thread that's come through with our guests on this podcast, which is really lovely. Now, what advice would you offer the next generation of leaders, including young Caulfield alumni entering the world of business, about building a fulfilling and successful career?
I think really embrace every opportunity. And although if things are being asked of you that might initially appear dull, I would really apply your best effort to whatever it is, because you'll be surprised what you can learn from. There's always something you can learn from every task, or every manager, or every project. And I really think, it's in your best interest to give everything a red hot go
Yeah.
and learn something from it. And you just never know where that skill or that insight will take you. I think another aspect is to be open and have a kind of a yes attitude, and be very positive about and not box yourself in to a very narrow career path. It's good to be open to and aware of all the different occupations that are out there. One of the best pieces of advice that one of the partners at KPMG gave to me when I was leaving was, when you look at all your managers, you need to think, well, in a couple of years, you might be doing that job.
Yeah.
So that's the question. Would you like to do that job or not?
Yeah.
Right? So I think that look forward kind of concept really resonated with me. And you can look forward at other people, at other managers in other divisions, and say, well, is that something that I would like to do? And
Yeah.
that helps you some direction
Mhm.
as to you might like to do next. And I think there is an element of career planning. That's an aspect of career planning, which I think could actually help a lot of people.
Love that tip. Now, again, Michael, thank you for sharing your incredible insights and experiences. As we wrap up today's episode, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Enjoy your time at Caulfield Grammar School. The institution is one that provides a lot. So
Yeah.
for you to get as much out of the school, you know, participate in everything and embrace what the school has to offer. That's the way you'll get the most out of the school. And, it's a precious, precious time in your life.
Yeah.
Uh, so really enjoy it. And that'll be a great springboard for you, in the future.
Love that. Well, thank you again, Michael, for your time and for sharing all of your insights with us today. We really appreciate it, and best of luck with your future endeavors as well.
Really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Michael. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Heart Stories. A heartfelt thank you to our guests for sharing their story, wisdom, and passion with us today. Their insights remind us of what makes creativity, leadership, and community so impactful in shaping meaningful lives. Brought to you by the Caulfield Grammarians Association, this podcast celebrates the shared values that unite us and inspire us to grow, connect, and lead with purpose. We hope today's conversation has sparked reflection on your own story and the legacy you're building. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an inspiring story. Share it with your friends, family, or anyone who could use a dose of inspiration. And be sure to join us next time for another powerful conversation with a guest who has a story worth telling. But until then, take care, stay curious, and continue making an impact. This is Heart Stories. See you next time.